In today's exciting episode, we're going to be planting Salanova lettuce, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, Alan Schaefer at Custom Garden Solutions. In today's exciting episode, I'm going to be sowing some Salanova lettuce seeds. So Salanova is spelled S-A-L-A-N-O-V-A. Kind of sounds like a cheer. And it's one of my favorite lettuces. And I don't grow a lot of lettuce because it's just not that nutritious. Tastes good, not that nutritious. And but Salanova is one that I grow year in and year out. I tend to grow more kale and spinach and chard and tetsoi and pak choi, and in my salads I'll take the leaves from beets and other plants and I'll just put a little bit, maybe 25% of it being lettuce. But Salanova lettuce is something I grow every year, tastes great, and there's a couple other reasons why I grow it. I was first introduced to Salanova lettuce by a guy named Curtis Stone, the urban farmer Curtis Stone. He's in Kelowna, Canada, and he's got a great YouTube channel. He's an urban farmer. Gosh, he's an educator. He's a crazy entrepreneur, but he's also now he's into farm products. So if you haven't checked out Curtis Stone's channel, don't leave my episode right now and go there and do it, but check it out. Curtis has great information. He's an interesting guy, and he's got a terrific channel and a terrific business. So, Salanova lettuce is a favorite among urban farmers or production farms who are selling to restaurants and grocery stores and farmers markets and distributors. And there's a couple reasons why. One, it's an abundant producer. It's a cut and come again crop. So they're able to grow the Salanova lettuce and then cut it and then come back a couple weeks later, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, and cut it again. Sometimes you'll get 4 or 5 cuts, but typically at a minimum you're going to get 2 or 3. What's nice about that is they use something called a quick cut greens harvester. I actually have one. It's back in Illinois, or I'd show you. The quick cut greens harvester, and I may be getting that wrong. It's from a place called Farmer's Friend in Tennessee. They have an online store. They're also an awesome place. What the greens harvester does is it cuts the Salanova lettuce, kind of like it's like a handheld basket almost. And you go over the crop, and it cuts it in a straight line and throws the lettuce into a bag. Now what's nice about that is, of course, your lettuce is bagged and it's easy to store that and sell that. But what's nice about that is it's a nice straight line, all right? So everything's cut nice and evenly. So when it grows back uniformly, and they can just go cut it again. Now, in your backyard, in my garden here, I'll cut it, with scissors or a knife. I really don't need the quick cut greens harvester, and I hope I'm getting that right, but it's something like that. If I had it, I would, but I don't have it here right now. But that's one reason why it's very popular, is that it's a cut and come again. It's also very an abundant producer. It obviously tastes very good, and you have several varieties. So let's go over the varieties. All right, the first type of Salanova lettuce I'm going to be planting today is green sweet crisp. We also have some red oak leaf Salanova lettuce. The next is red butter Salanova. And we've got some green butter Salanova. And last but not least, the red sweet crisp Salanova. So I've got 5 varieties. About the only place you can get these is Johnny's. So, a couple different types of lettuce, couple different colors. Some are kind of frilly, some are flatter. So it just gives a little bit of variety to your salads and to your dishes. A little bit of texture So I'll be growing 5 different types. There's a few more types. You can check it out at Johnny's, but these are the ones I'm going with. I prefer to get the pelleted variety. So what pelleted is they're covered by a clay-like substance, and it just makes it so much easier to sow your seeds or to plant your seeds. Lettuce seeds are very small, and it's very difficult to, put them every couple inches or whatever your spacing is going to be. But when they're pelleted, they're a little larger, and it makes it much easier to do. When I spoke with somebody at Johnny's about this a while back, I asked them if the pelleted seeds are going to store longer because they're encased in that clay-like substance. And it was a little counterintuitive to me, but once it was explained to me, it makes a lot of sense. And the answer is no, because the clay-like material used, the clay-like substance, compound used, is organic. So it's actually kind of like organic matter pressing up against the seeds. It's like if you took your seeds in a bag and you added a little bit of soil to it, that wouldn't help. It's going to attract moisture, plants growing, seeds growing soil. But I have not had any problem storing these for several years. A couple of my packages are getting a little old, and haven't had any problem with germination rates. So that is Salanova in a nutshell. I am going to get planting. Now, as far as depth, these tend to grow smaller than a basketball, bigger than a softball. So I'm going to go about every 6 inches. So they're suggesting 3 to 4 seeds per foot in rows 8 to 24 inches apart. I'm going to go about every 6 inches. And the first one we're going to put in is the green butter pelleted. I'll mark them later. And I'm going to do about 10 each of the 5 different types of plants. And I've said this many times, don't get too concerned with your depth. On most seeds, it's not a big deal. When I put my last one, I'm just going to put all right, 20% done. Next, we're going to do the red butter pelleted Salanova. Woohoo! Now, one thing I would recommend is I like a little color in my food, and I tend to get a lot of greens. So I really kind of like to grow a little bit more of the red. And last year, the red did not perform as good as the green. So remembering that, we dropped one. We're gonna have a volunteer. So knowing that, I will grow a little extra red this year. Maybe not grow a little extra red, maybe I'll just overseed a little bit. That was actually more the issue. It grew very sparsely. So I'm just gonna go on the other side of the drip hose. Put a few extra. I call this stretching around the garden yoga. There are moves that I do in the garden, kind of like yoga moves, stretching moves, balance moves, that I never do in the gym. Now, for all you home gamers, I overseed. Saving money isn't my priority. Having priceless, nutrient-rich food is my priority. So, I'm not on a budget. So you may want to use less seeds, things like that. I tend to have seeds that are left over year after year after year. I think I'm a seed junkie. So, you know, you may want to space a little bit more. You may want to use less seeds, things like that. I want to make sure this all fills up. I don't want any empty spaces. That's why I put some extra of the red. Last year, we didn't have as much red. Keith and I, who's my friend who gardens with me in this area, I know he likes Salanova, so I'm just trying to really kind of double up on the red Salanova. What is that? The red butter Salanova. All right. Next, this is the green sweet crisp. There's not a lot of that. I'm going to do that last because I've got new seeds for all of these. One other thing about Salanova, it's not cheap. I have not tried to have it go to seed. I imagine it does. And I might try to do it this year. But I think a packet of, if I'm not mistaken, 25 seeds, I think it was 25 seeds, is about $5. So it's not cheap as far as lettuce seeds go. But it is a cut and come again. This is the red oak leaf. And again, I didn't grow the red oak leaf last year. I drew the sweet and the crisp. And I got a couple extras here that I will put one down here in the end. All right, 3 down, 2 to go. 60% is what my public school education tells me. The next thing I'm going to be doing is the red sweet crisp pelleted Salanova. I always use that joke. My public school education. My father had his PhD. So Dr. Schaefer, who passed away recently, and I miss him, was a high school principal in Illinois for 33 years. My mother was a teacher, and he was the principal at the high school that I went to that had about 2,000 kids. That was a lot of fun. But my mother was a teacher. My sister's a teacher. And I'm the black sheep of the family. I spent 25 years in the communications equipment business, selling telephone systems to large businesses, local area networks, wide area networks, video equipment, wireless networks, all kinds of cool stuff, security stuff. And then, but back to the joke. Sometime in the future, I'll tell you what I've been up to in my life. But so since everybody in my family, and I'm just overseeding the heck out of this, but since everybody in my family was public school educators, whenever I made an error or spoke incorrectly, I would always say that, well, that's my public education. And they never had a good reply to me, or you just smile at me. All right, so here's the green sweet crisp. And well, guess what, folks? Boy, it says pelleted. Showing some seeds here, but they're not pelleted. I don't know. What do you do here, Alan? Well, I'm going to plant these. They look kind of like, you know what? I had a half-pound bag of kale, red Russian kale. For microgreens, I'm going to start doing microgreens again. And I think that's what those were. So I just dumped those over there. Maybe they'll come up, maybe they won't. All right, I had to run out to the veggie mobile and get the green, sweet, crisp, pelleted seeds. Again, these are new. I got these this year, circa 2018. But these didn't come in the little cool containers. All right, so I'll just stretch out the drip tape. I think Johnny's does have like a combo pack that you might want to get if you do this, where you get, I may be wrong, and maybe they don't have it anymore, but I think you might get like 4 or 5 for slightly off. And these will last a couple years. If you store them in a cool, dry place, you know, 65, 70 degrees, something like that. Dark, cool, dark, dry place. All right, like I said, I'm putting these 4 to 6 inches apart. 5, 6 inches apart. I'm actually going to come back and put them on the other side of the drip hose. Like I said, you might not want to do this at home. This is one of the first seeds I'm sowing directly. I should have had this done mid-October. Now it's almost the end of November here in Arizona. So, well, that was a fail. All right, so I've got 5 types of Salanova lettuce in. I went up to about here, so I'm going to mark that. So I've got 5 types of Salanova lettuce planted. I'm going to mark these with the bamboo sticks and some plastic that I have from some kitty litter containers. I did an episode on that very early on the channel. Then I'm going to water them in lightly. We're working on our irrigation system here to make sure that we're not leaking. So we've got the water off. I'll turn the water off. I'll hand water. And these will be set. Just keep them slightly moist so they'll germinate in 10, 12 days, we may see some germination depending on the temperatures here. We don't see any frost coming in the near future, so we should be okay, but we're getting into December in Phoenix, and there will be days where you have frost. Not a lot of them. They typically don't last long. They'll come for a couple days and go. The last couple winters, I can count on, I know last winter one hand how many frost dates we had. So the Salanova will be fine. It's very hardy plants. It's a cool weather crop. So I'm going to take some plant tags and mark these so I know what they are. Then I'm going to lightly water them in. I'll be out here tomorrow, so I don't need to water so much. But I'll give them a good watering right now. That'll help keep some of the... Okay, here's a fact for you. You'd think that watering cools it down, which it does. I mean, if it's 90 degrees and you put cool water on it, but at night, a watered garden will keep the heat in. Kind of counterintuitive, a lot of gardening is. Not all, but some. And the reason is that it's compact. Loose, dry soil, you know, heat rises, so it rises out of the soil. When the sun stops growing, beating on it, and it gets cooler at night. A wet garden bed will hold the soil in because it's basically compressed, whereas loose soil, loose dry soil, just lets that air filter right out. All right, we have watered it in, got the markers in. As I mentioned earlier, Salanova lettuce is one of my favorites, one of Keith's favorites, my friend who gardens with me here. And it's one of those that a lot of my customers aren't familiar with. In fact, a lot of my fellow gardeners that I talk to aren't familiar with. But when I turn them on to it, they're always very happy that I did, and it tends to be something that I find my customers and friends grow year after year after year after they've been introduced to it. So go ahead and try some. And if you do, make sure you get some green and get some red, get some different varieties, and make sure you understand that you can cut it and come again and cut it and come again and cut it. I didn't do it here, I sowed directly from seed, but you can grow these indoors and transplant them outdoors. I'm actually have been planning on doing that just to do it. And being in Arizona, it may be something I do towards the end of next summer when it's too hot to grow out here, so that the minute it starts cooling off in October, November, I have plant starts ready to go in the ground. And I do know that most urban farmers, Curtis Stone, some of the others, they tend to do them from plant starts that they've started indoors. I'm Alan Schaefer at Custom Garden Solutions. Our channel's all about helping you grow herbs and vegetables and all kinds of cool garden stuff so that you can live a healthier and happier life. If you're new to the channel, hello. and you want to learn all about growing herbs and vegetables and all kinds of cool garden stuff, then start today by subscribing. And so you don't miss anything, hit the notification bell, because you never know what I'm going to be talking about next. In today's episode, I'm going to be planting some sugar snap peas. Why did I say that? Because I eat a lot of salads, believe it or not. And because I eat a lot of salad, because I eat a lot of salad, because I eat a lot of salad.